It's my time. Yep, right on time.
Recording in progress.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Board of Directors of Metro Fire District, a regular meeting, Thursday, April 27th. Let's see. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Directors Weber,
Present.
Sheets,
Present.
Wood,
Present.
Rice,
Present.
Costa,
Present.
and President Clark.
Present. Okay, I'd like to do our pledge to the flag. Director Wood, can you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You were testing us.
Okay. We passed.
Okay.
Yeah, we did okay.
All right, we have a Metro Cable announcement. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District will be telecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications at AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is also webcast at Metro 14 Live .saccounty.gov. And today's meeting replays on Monday, May 1st at 6 p.m. and Wednesday, May 3rd at 1 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. Next, we have public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
We do not have any in-person speakers, but Art, would you check on our virtual audience?
Hey, attendees, you now have the ability to unmute yourself if there's anything you'd like to present to the board at this time. No response.
Thank you. Hearing none, we move on to the consent agenda. You've had a chance to look at the items on the agenda. Do we have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion. So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Director Rice, a second by Director Sheets. Call the roll, please, Doctor.
Directors Weber,
Aye.
Sheets, aye. Wood,
Aye.
Rice,
Aye.
Costa,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, seeing no presentation items or no action items, we'll go straight to reports. President reports, I don't have one right now. With that, we'll move on to the fire chief's report. Chief Howard.
Thank you, President Clark. Board members and my colleagues and members of the public, I'd like to congratulate accounting specialist Nadia Malala on her retirement on April 15th after 5 years of service with the district. And I'd like to report out that on the board clerk recruitment, the candidate has successfully completed the district's pre-employment background process and has been offered a formal offer of employment with a start date of May 22nd. And I'll share some more with you in closed session on that. I'd like to welcome back those of you who flew across the country and represented the department at the Cap to Cap and that delegation. I'm glad you're home safe and more learned and ready to roar in terms of your what you have to bring back for us. I'm anxious to hear from each of you on your experience there. On Tuesday, April 18th, I testified with Director Rice actually at the Assembly Health Committee hearing on the 8040, the APOT times. And then I stayed for from Assemblymember Rodriguez's presentation of AB 1180, which is a bill removing the requirement to be a medical doctor from the SIMSA director position. And I think that's an important element for us in the field here as well. On Thursday, April 20th, before some of you left for Washington, I participated with a number of our staff that Assistant Chief Green is going to speak about at Fire Station 68 with the U.S. Fire Administrator and many other federal and national fire service and state fire chiefs. Our staff did an exemplary job in coordinating the event, welcoming the delegation here and seeing to the needs of the delegates, even as much as taking the U.S. Fire Administrator to San Francisco to catch a air flight back home. So if I had a hat, my hat's off to everybody that did that. We had a number of members, probably upwards of 20, who were not able to make it to our awards gala on March 30th. So Jill has had me busy visiting fire stations and giving out those awards. So I've been to 19 fire stations in the last week. I thought it was important that I meet with these members personally and not have them receive an award, via mail truck. So it's actually been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed visiting with them, and today I finished the job, so that was good. I would like to thank you for tonight's action in approving the contract renewal with American Medical Response. That's a big move for us, I think, right now. And as I've been meeting with the membership and talking with them about what might happen this evening, which did, they're as anxious as I am to see the impact of 2 additional ambulances in the system and some relief on wall time as well. And we hope that these units will provide a relief to our crews. Just last night, I was made aware of 2 medic companies that were on the wall in the middle of the night from 11 to 2 or 3 in the morning, one of them. And it's just, it really, honestly, it breaks my heart to see people out in the middle of the night like that when they should be back in the station house. So with AMR here tonight, I thank you for your representation, and we really look forward to working through our partnership this next year, especially this summer. On Tuesday of this week, we remembered the line of duty death for Captain John DeGraff. And so that was spread throughout the district, and we could just keep him in mind and remember he and his family. We have a Fire Station 63 line of duty death station dedication coming up on May 11th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're available, I would ask you to attend that. I certainly understand if you have other activities, but we'll be out at Station 63 on Folsom Boulevard at Hazel there for that. And then our Community Relations Division has set an open house at Fire Station 68 on Saturday, May 27th from 10 to 12. And so I know that these open houses are of interest to some of you. And again, if you could join me for that for part of the time at least, that'd be great. It's the first time I visited that station last week, and it's really a beautiful station. I love the architecture that was done on the station house. So that's great. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you for that report, Chief. Do we have any questions? Good. Director Weber.
I've got a question and a request. First question is, with the wall time issue that you were discussing, fantastic. I love the idea. But when there is a lull or a lack of wall time, can these units be placed back in the field to run calls?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to use them on a dynamic deployment. They will normally just be in the system working. And we will pull them out of their response for 911 calls to go and post at a particular hospital where we're getting our units stacked up. And then once they clear, then we'll release them back into the system. Yeah.
Good plan. Thank you. And my request, we haven't talked about this openly in quite a while, and I certainly don't need to get into it tonight as far as work comp stuff, but I am requesting that there's a temperament in the field that something is happening in a positive way. We're moving, and individuals now are getting treated. So I would request that in your reports weekly, not weekly, but at least in maybe the beginning of the month, the progresses we've made, such as the carving out of the automatics, and the potential of your deputy chiefs being able to override utilization reviews in some cases. So if we can get that in at least one of your weekly reports,
Sure.
I'm sure the board would be very anxious to see where the hard lines that we've moved on.
You mean like individual case?
No,
movement,
no, no.
or-
I mean, in general, such as, did we carve out some of those automatics? And are those implemented right now? You understand what I'm saying is our automatics?
Gotcha.
Okay. And then secondarily, as far as if it in fact is been approved by yourself to have the deputies override certain utilization views. I don't need to know specifics, none of that stuff. I just want, is that stuff happening? And if we could put that in your reports.
Yeah, overriding utilization review. I think I sent you my letter a few weeks ago on that, right? I believe I did. So those are still today being done on a case-by-case basis. The letter has been received by our third-party administrator. They still want to meet with me to make sure I have a sound mind, I guess, and to affirm that direction. But there's no hesitation on my side. I've met with our legal team. I've met with HR. I've done my due diligence, so I feel confident. And the overrides or the automatic approvals is more what it is for utilization review. So but they want to meet with me again, so I'll meet with them.
Very
Right
good.
now, we're handling on a case-by-case basis. So yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, anybody, anyone else? Yeah, Chief, I'd like to thank you for that hands-on approach in delivering those the accommodations. Not accommodations, but the awards gala personally. I think that's unique. It's great, and I think that our personnel appreciate it.
It's appreciated.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it's a great hands-on approach. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have operations. Assistant Chief Chris Green is going to do the report for the operations report for Deputy Chief Mitchell.
Thank you, President Clark, Directors, Chief Haverty, Chris Green here. I'm an Assistant Chief in the Operations Branch. I'm standing in for Chief Mitchell tonight while he's off, and I have two large updates for you. The first is our unprecedented snowpack sitting above us in the foothills. As you have probably heard and read, they're recording this as the second largest snowpack in the Sierra Nevadas in recorded history. And while we're very accustomed to water flows in the American River in the springtime, we anticipate some large releases from Folsom Dam and Nimbus Dam within the coming weeks. Memorial Day is traditionally our kickoff in town for the river getting busy. So a couple things that our training division and special operations division has been up to lately is just completing a river flood operations class, an RFO class for 20 of our newest firefighters. I think there were probably 20 ice cubes floating down the river the last couple days because the flows are already up and they're extremely cold. But this was a great opportunity to get more instructors out there as well to really dust off working in fast water, which we have not had in several years. We just completed our annual boat operator refresher training. So everyone that has been through a class in the past that's qualified to operate one of our boats was out on the water. And again, in some unprecedented conditions. And lastly, we do an annual hoist rescue training with a third-party company called Priority One in air operations. We just completed that last week. But specifically when that curriculum this year was working on swiftwater rescue and swimmers out of our helicopter. That's something that we have not had an opportunity to do in the past because the flows weren't up. So given the activity that our air operations division had this winter with the floods and stagnant water, it was really a good transition to expand their capabilities. And we do not have any projections from Department of Water Resources of anything reaching a flood stage locally. If anything, we may see some concerns with the unhoused on our riverbanks, but we work with state parks on that. Secondly, I want to report out to you, as the fire chief mentioned, our large press event last week. We were very honored to be invited as the local hosting agency by United States Fire Administration Administrator, Dr. Lori Moore Merrill, who has had contact with members of this organization in the past. She came out with a delegation of 16 on the last stop of their 6-city tour across the United States over the last 4 months. With her were top representatives from the National Association of Fire Chiefs and the National Association of Firefighters, the NFPA, the National Fire Sprinkler Association, the National Volunteer Fire Service Council, National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, Fire Safety Research Institute, and Underwriter Laboratories. They joined Chief Haverty, Cal OES Chief Brian Marshall, and Cal Fire Chief Joe Tyler at Station 68 for a press conference. The major highlights of their initiatives included addressing climate-driven wildfires, which is very much ties into what's going on in the western half of the United States. Fire department staffing challenges, behavioral health in the fire service, and cancer in the fire service, just to name a few. Captain Wilborn, our public information officer, was able to secure approximately 8 local and national media outlets. And we were able to live stream this event in-house. Viewership was quite significant, and the local media was very interested in a lot of one-on-one interviews with all these dignitaries after the event. We had approximately 75 folks at Station 68, including fire chiefs represented from throughout the state of California, as well as all members of our ranks, all the way down to our crews that were able to hear the message as well. After the press conference, we came back here to the boardroom. We hosted an informal lunch for the delegation, and they provided an after-action review and had nothing but praises for thanking the fire chief for hosting us, and they wanted me to extend their thanks as well to the board. They fully understand that it was a very busy 2 weeks for folks back in Washington, D.C., and also in Palm Springs for CalJax. So they hope to see everyone next time. We did have 2 other events on the schedule. A hosted dinner by the USFA Fire Administrator for several delegates throughout Sacramento, and also some station tours, but we ran into some significant challenges with flight delays and flight changes at the last minute. As this delegation had to get on the red eye back to Washington, D.C. for their final leg of their press conference on Friday. The good news is Deputy Chief Adam Mitchell was in Washington, D.C. He was able to attend the press conference representing our agency, so it was a good bow tie, considering we couldn't get everything done. 2 folks I need to recognize. Unfortunately, they're not here tonight, but their hard work really made this happen. So Captain Wilborn, our public information officer, did an absolute phenomenal job getting the message out locally, statewide, and nationally. And Brenda Briggs, who is, as you know, has put on many great events over the years. She's the glue that holds everything together. So that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions?
I do have a follow-up question. You mentioned with respect to the snow melt
Yes.
and working with parks as it relates to the homeless population on the river. What's the process?
Generally what occurs is once we get notified that the flows are going to increase by the Department of Water Resources, we let the shift commanders know when that's expected.
Okay.
And oftentimes we'll get a boat crew out on the water just to see if there's any physical people close to the water, and just one-on-one contact, get them out. Our shift commanders are in touch with the watch commander at parks, and we work hand in hand. Although it's not our legal jurisdiction and authority to remove, we work hand in hand because we have the ability to get on the water and see campsites that you can't see from otherwise. Okay. And this has been probably a newer approach within the last year, because we really haven't had any significant flows until this year. But we're working hand in hand with them to make sure that we are well ahead by several days at these events.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other? Go ahead, Bryce.
Just real quick, Chief Green, with the flows coming up, maybe it would be a good idea to put something out to our members. You know, one of the line of duty deaths that Metro Fire has had has been firefighter Ron Hartnett, who died on a body recovery in the river. It's been many, many years ago. Bob probably worked with him. I knew him, but I think it would be, I would ask, put something out for that awareness. The river requires really serious emergency operators, and I know our crews are, but just river's a dangerous place.
Yes, thank you. We will get that done. And I also know that our PIO is going to be working on the public
Great.
announcements as well as we move forward.
Good. Director Wood?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say to the chief and to you, Chief Green, thank you for all the work that Parker Wilborn and Brenda did as well. I know you wanted to mention it, but we appreciate all their work. I was traveling on Thursday, was able to watch some of that event and the work that Parker did from many, many thousand miles away. So it was really neat to be able to see that halfway around the world. So,
Yeah, I don't understand how it all works, but I'm thoroughly impressed as well.
yeah, they do an amazing job, and I just appreciate all the work that they do and all the support that you guys give them.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll pass it along.
Yeah, I understand too that in Washington DC, we got a shout out for that presentation. In the press conference, that it was really well done. They were so impressed that they gave a shout out to Metro.
That's good to hear.
DC. That's big.
That's cool.
That's really good. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Absolutely.
Next, we have administrative report. I guess Chief Wagman, you're gonna do Chief Bailey's reporting. All right, thank you. Then proceed, please, Chief.
All right, with the support services update, Chief Wagaman, Deputy Chief of Support Services. Good evening, directors, President Clark, and Fire Chief Haverty. Pleasure to speak with you again here this evening. Quick update from our facilities division. I wanted to update you on the status of Station 101 and 105. We're both undergoing a pretty significant remodel within their kitchen area. Again, two different contractors, two different bidding processes, and both are working in concert with each other pretty much at the same time. We just completed the architectural drawings. It's the last component required in order to obtain a permit to ensure that we're following all the rules associated with those types of projects. And regarding Station 105, the cabinets and flooring have already been ordered. So we're leaving no time left behind. So as soon as we get that permit in hand, the installation will begin. And I would expect the same to occur at Station 101, a little bit behind Station 105, but that's just how these projects have rolled out. Also, your fleet manager, Shay Purcell, just went on a road trip himself. He went to Braun, checking in on our ambulances. And as previously stated, we've been challenged along with all the other fire agencies to get fire apparatus and ambulances over the last couple of years. COVID hit us pretty hard. Trying to find chassis, trying to find companies to build on these chassis has been an undertaking. It actually got to a point to where I have asked Shay just to find any ambulance that can safely get our crews to and from the hospital. And if we can get our hands on it, let's get it. And we're finally starting to see the fruit of that. We have 6 ambulances that we expect to be here from Braun by Tuesday. So hopefully I can get some pictures to the fire chief and over to each and every one of you to see our new fleet as it starts to arrive. For members of the community, it is not uncommon for our ambulances to put on 50,000 miles per year. So they are well broken in after year 1. They are tired by year 2, and they're exhausted by year 3. And we have several ambulances that are at year 6. So we definitely need these ambulances. We'll put them into service just as quickly as possible. End of report from support services, unless you have any questions for me.
Where's Braun?
I don't know exactly. I believe it is up north in Washington, I believe, but I can get back to you on that. I'm not exactly sure where he went.
Just curious.
Yep. The company that we secured those Braun ambulances from, though, is from California.
Okay. Very
North
good.
Star.
Director Costa.
Just a follow-up. What's the life cycle again?
It depends on where the ambulances are assigned. We try to start the replacement process at 100,000 miles. By 150, they're definitely in reserve status. We try to go by mileage versus the date because we're tacking on the mileage a lot quicker than the age of that unit. We're also doing a remount is what we call it now. We take a box off of old ambulances, we repaint it, we put new lights on it, we put it on a new chassis. What we see is the chassis are what get tired, not so much the boxes. So as long as the boxes aren't bent, there's a pretty significant cost savings in doing that. And that's what we're focused on doing these days. So as long as we can get the chassis.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good use. Good use. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but just a comment, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Many points were made back in DC. That point exactly was brought up to many congressional members and to FEMA about the lag time. So they're aware of it as well. We had some tremendous folks back there pushing some great projects and grants and everything. So, but just to that point, it's aware at a national level. So
It's good to know.
Supply.
Thank you.
Supply issues. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Chief. All right, let's go on to firefighters local 522 report. Was that Sean? Mike,
Yes.
Sounds
Hello, my name is Brett Randall.
Oh, Brett Randall, I'm sorry.
Yes. Shop steward, captain, currently assigned to the EMS division.
Okay.
Thank you, board. Thank you, President, for this time and members of the public. First off, I want to acknowledge the recent travel to DC by everyone. President Jameson and VP Cole we're appreciative of the opportunity to work with Chief Bailey and Chief Mitchell. They said that they were able to talk and have a good conversation and things went well, and looking forward to continue that back here at home. They said we still have lots of work to clean up on Measure H, and hopefully would like to get that additional squad in Rancho. Also, we went to CalJack last week, or about a week and a half ago, and that was a great opportunity to work with CalJack and work with labor management. Chief Wagman was down there along with Chief Lozano to be able to connect with them, have good conversations, and figure out the best ways to use the CJAC funds and also how we can increase those funds. It was a really great week, and we got to learn a lot being down there. We had our unit meeting this morning. Good turnout. Everything went well there. We are excited to attend the Birdies for Burns this Monday. And then Tuesday, we will be downtown Sacramento to have some FaceTime with local politicians and the CPF legislation. And lastly, but not least, the membership wants to thank the board on their actions recently with the concerns of workers' compensation and the direction that is going. It's been noted to memberships online and the progress that has been made with that. So we are extremely appreciative of that, and it's been noticed by everyone. So we hope that continues, and we just want to say thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you for that report. Do we have any questions? No questions. See, hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to committee and delegate reports. Executive committees, their next meeting is to be determined. Communications Center JPA, DC Wagman.
Good evening once again. I did confirm with our fleet manager. Ron is in Washington, so it was a good guess on my behalf.
All right,
Confirm that with
thank you.
The dispatch JPA board last met on Tuesday, April 25th, out at Consumnes headquarters. During that meeting, we had AC Wilson from Folsom, AC Williams from Sacramento City, DC Quiggle from Consumnes, and myself. We had one action item, which was unanimously approved. It was just an update to the HR analyst job description. We then moved to a board workshop with integrated communication strategies. This is our strategic plan. We sat for a couple of hours and we discussed lots of topics surrounding the strategic plan and scenarios that would drive changes within that plan. Our goal is to build a realistic strategic plan that is built around incidents that may or may not occur for our communication center, everything from a significant flooding event, an earthquake, an active shooter situation, anything that could potentially impact either internally or externally our comm center, and making sure that our plan will accommodate those types of incidents into the future, as well as we had a lot of discussion about our disaster recovery site. So looking forward to future conversations with our consultant, as well as putting the finishing touches on this strategic plan. Our next meeting is going to be scheduled for Tuesday, May 9th, Metro Fire headquarters here at 9 o'clock in the morning. End of report.
Do we have any questions on Chief? Hearing none. Okay, thank you, Chief. Next, we have the Finance and Audit Committee. Director Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Finance and Audit Committee met tonight. We had the opportunity to compare financial figures through February 28th against our updated and amended mid-year budget. We learned that our total revenues are running just about 2% under budget. Medic revenues are also slightly under. On the other side, the total expenses are also slightly under budget. However, the labor portion of that is running about 1.8 million above budget. It's about 84% of our general fund. Based on the current rates, our reserve should end up in the year at about 13.4%, which is under our 15% goal. Another bit of good news, though, from the meeting, we did find here that our CERT fund, which covers post-retirement health benefits for our members, continues to grow. The fund is now up to 70,292,000, which is about 26% funded. And also that fund celebrates the 10-year anniversary this year. So that's some really good news, helping to make sure that we can ensure we can meet the promises we made to our members years ago, and we'll be continuing to grow with that in the future. So that ends my report.
Thank you for that report. Do we have any questions? All right, thank you. Next, we move on to the Policy Committee, and that will be Director Costa.
Thank you. Nothing new to report. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 11th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have board member questions and comments. We'll start with Director Weber.
Thank you. Got just a quick little blip. Back to Cap, I'd like to recognize Jeff Fry, Kyle McDonald, Aaron Cassabear. They did unbelievable work back there. I knew they were smart, but back there they were absolutely brilliant. And so I want to recognize those folks. And then secondarily, I would like to, I apologize not for knowing the process, but I would like to know or start having a conversation on the process to make Kyle McDonald a permanent employee of Metro Fire rather than a contract employee. So I'd like to have those conversations and see how that goes.
I think that would be the chief's department.
And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. There's the chief.
No comment.
No comment. Thank you. All right, Director Costa.
No comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Rice? Oh, I haven't.
I only have, really, I have a lot, but I only have.
No, whatever you want. You got the floor.
That is to say, for all my career and even going on, I have appreciated the public-private partnership that Metro Fire, American River Fire, and any of our predecessor districts have had with AMR. It is important, and I think we need to recognize it. It's probably one places in the whole state where we really coalesce well and we work together well. And I just wanted to say that from this dais that I appreciate that partnership, and I really I have a firm belief that in this type of arena, a public-private partnership is really something to model and really look at. So I appreciate what we've been able to do, and that's my comment.
Thank you very much, Director. Director Wood.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have just make it one thing on a personal note. My 11-year-old daughter's in the video and news production at her elementary school. And my wife and I were talking about 68's 1-year anniversary, and she wanted to do a school project, video project on 68's 1-year anniversary. So we reached out to Parker Wilborn. I reached out to Parker Wilborn, and I just want to say thank you to him for all his help in setting up a time where my daughter was able to go out and meet with a crew out there earlier in April. Captain Randy Wooten, Engineer Keith Albertson, and Firefighter Matthew House. They were incredibly kind and patient with her and let her get her filming and questioning and get that all done. So I want to say thank you to everybody that helped her get that done, and they were really instrumental. Now, one other thing I am going to say, in my day job, I've got the opportunity to interact quite a bit with other agencies, including CAL FIRE. And when it comes up that I've got this role here, everyone that I talk to has nothing but good things to say about the interactions that we have. They all speak very highly of everyone from the interactions with our deputy chiefs on the various projects that we work with regionally, all the way down to the men and women on the line. And it's really makes me proud to hear people in this profession, in other agencies, speak so highly of our people. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Fantastic, thank you. Finally, I'd like to also recognize Jeff Fry and his crew, man. I gotta tell you, it's one thing to hear reports, but it's another to sit in a room when we're talking to the electeds or the representatives, and the depth of knowledge that and the expertise that our personnel display. Another thing that regarding Kyle, I was really amazed at the relations that he has in DC. I mean, he knows a lot of these people. He knew somebody at FEMA. He knew somebody at some of the different departments, or somebody's one of the elected staff. We had a very good interaction with Representative with Congresswoman Matsui, and also some of the staff of Kylie, Congressman Kylie, and people like that. And it was very informative. One thing about it is Metro Fire is also well represented by our lobbyists in DC. They're very prominent, and well, I tell you, we're in the room. We're in the room, and that's the good thing. It's always good to be where the action is, and to be recognized. And so I think we're in good hands. And it was very informative, very productive trip. So, and also just to see the even 522 up there in there doing their thing, and advocating on behalf of Metro Fire. And the other nice thing about the trip was that we got to be in a room with the safety committee, and bouncing back and forth between the law enforcement and ourselves, and how we complement each other. And I think the electeds got a good idea as to why we need the funding that we asked for. And we don't get everything we want, but it's nice for them to realize that we're the squeaky wheel, and we're going to continue to keep asking for what we need to service our community. That's all I have for that. And now we're going to go to closed session and take care of some business and come out here in a minute.
Recording stopped.
We need to